Hey guys, good morning. It's Coach Tabby B, Dynamo Nutrition and Fitness. So I'm just going to pop in here today and do a quick live to talk about why we track our food. It's important to know what we got coming in, and by food I mean food and beverage. I mean anything that has a caloric value, okay? So you got to think of it this way. Our bodies are meant to have a certain amount of nutrients every day, or at least on an average of days. And those nutrients include also those macro and micronutrients, right? So macros, as we know, are going to be your carbs, protein, fat, alcohol. But as you know, I don't discuss alcohol because it's not essential for life, as in you don't require it to live. And then also our micronutrients. Those are our vitamins and minerals that we can only get outside of ourselves. So those come through our food and our beverage, right? Those come through supplementation, multivitamins, multiminerals, individual specific minerals, B complex, biotin, iron, zinc, right? So we all kind of are on the same page there. So that's why I'm going to tell you some basics. Remember that we track food because we need to make sure that we're getting adequate nutrition. Hey, Michelle, thanks for coming in. Make sure we're getting adequate nutrition. Nutrition means that we are nutrient fed, okay? It doesn't mean that we have the right macro of carbs, proteins, and fats. It means that we are nutrient, vitamins and minerals fed, so our bodies can thrive, not just survive. So what I'm going to talk about also is that protein. As we know, I always say protein is Legos. It's one of my hashtags, and I'm always saying prioritize protein. And I'm always talking about how, to help determine that number. A lot of people don't have access to equipment that will tell you what your lean body mass is. You don't have to know what your lean body mass is. Lean body mass is just anything that's not fat mass, okay? So there's plenty of charts and there's plenty of guides that can help you along that way. So literally, the little things that you see in your doctor's office, or you can even Google it. It'll tell you, like, for your sex, right? Are you a male or female? Your age, your height, and your weight. It'll give you, like, what a healthy, ideal weight is. Now, mind you, that's based on a very biased, I'm going to say, standard. Because if you have more lean mass, right? If you have more muscle, then obviously you might be a little heavier, but not look it, right? Just because, a pound is a pound is a pound is a pound. That's not the point. The point is that BMI, your body mass index, is just based on your height and your weight, okay? But those charts are going to give you a general parameter to go by. So it may say that you're a 5'3" female, for example, ages 35 to 40. And then it's going to say that, okay, an ideal weight for your age and height then would be, let's say, 108 to 132 pounds. So then try to get your protein somewhere in there, 108 to 132 grams a day. That way, at least, you're touching the lean body mass. And the worst thing that's going to happen is that it actually helps hold off your hunger, because protein is the most satiety. Satiety just means that it actually fills us up, that our body goes, wow, like, I'm satisfied. Okay, that's all that means. Satiety might sound like a fancy word, just means food satisfied, nutritionally satisfied. Okay, so a lot of times people say that they eat until they're satiated, and that's all they mean. They just eat till they're satisfied. So prioritize protein. That's one of the huge reasons we need to track. Even if you're just tracking your protein only foods, at least you'll have an idea of how much protein you're actually consuming a day. Hey, Miss Boyd. Hey, Jessica. Thank you guys for tuning in. And then I'm also going to let you know that a lot of times we need to track food because what if we need to eliminate certain things from our diet? What if, like, every third or fourth day we're having some sort of GI or upset distress in our gut, right? Well, if we're not tracking our food, have somebody ever said to you, like, what'd you do yesterday? And you just kind of pause for a minute and you're like, well, I know I slept in because it was Saturday or Sunday, or I know that we got a play to go to on Saturday night, but, right? Have you ever had that? So that same thing can apply to your food. So when we track our food, then we can go back and we can look and be like, wow, okay, so it's Thursday now. And on Tuesday, I had some ice cream, and let's say you don't normally eat ice cream, and now all of a sudden you have a lot of bloating, or you have a lot of, kind of like GI distress. Like, you just don't feel right. You feel like maybe your gut's heavy. Just anyone understand know what I mean when I say that? We all have felt heavy before, like in our gut, and we're like, what did I eat, or why do I feel like I'm heavy, right? And I don't mean heavy like a cinder block. I mean heavy just like you feel like you're bogged down. So without tracking our food, then we don't know, right? And then also, depending on what type of maybe allergies or illnesses or unfortunately diseases that you have, some foods that you are ingesting or beverage that you're ingesting can be actually irritating or flaring those things up. Again, I'm going to go back to dairy, for example. If you have seasonal allergies or asthma, for example, dairy is known to inflame that at a high level. I'm talking about lactose dairy. I'm not talking about lactose-free dairy, okay? That means no milk sugar. It seems to be the milk sugar itself that kind of flares those things up in a lot of people. And it can literally just be seasonal allergies, right? The pollen, the grass, the mold, the ragweed. So if we track our food, it helps us be more mindful. And that way we also can then say, hey, I need to eliminate this, or I need to eliminate that. Or perhaps I should add this, or I should add that, right? So think about that. The more you know, the more you can take charge of your life and then make change. So we track our food so we kind of have an idea of, generally speaking, you know, what we're eating or drinking, right? Even if it's just focused on those protein-rich foods, or those foods that say, let's say you scan the food label and it says, wow, 6 grams of protein. Track that, okay? You don't necessarily have to track unless you have a coach or you have specific goals, necessarily, you know, the carbs and fat, right? Just try to remember, again, use those little charts that help you. You can find them on Google. You can find them in your doctor's office. They'll say, like, for your age and height, here's what an ideal or healthy weight should be. And eat your protein grams somewhere in those numbers each day. Track food because you may need to know what to eliminate and why. And then lastly, if we're not nutrient fed, we can be at the weight that we want, you know, with that scale, that number between our feet, right? It doesn't define who you are, nor does it mean that you are healthy. So make sure that you're eating the rainbow. Make sure that you're eating a good variety of fruits and vegetables if you are a person that has fruit in your diet. I say that because a lot of people, if they have a lot of weight to lose, they eliminate fruit just because your liver is what the body will mobilize fat. And then it will go to your liver, and your liver will turn it into ketone bodies to help feed the brain, right? And that ongoing cycle will be interfered if you have a certain amount of fruit, right, in your liver, because fructose, carbohydrate, that's fruit's sugar, is stored in the liver. So you want the liver to be empty of fructose, so then that way it can say, okay, I need to shuttle the fat off my ham hocks or my love handles or my thunder thighs or our boobs for us women. Back for the guys. Guys have a hard, like the back fat is very troublesome for them, not just the gut fat here, okay? So you want your body to be prompt and be primed to take the fat and mobilize it, get it, as in shuttle it, move it to the liver, so the liver then can turn it into ketone bodies in our system. So, as always, DM me any questions or comments, dynamofitnessgroup.com. My job is to support, educate, and empower you. I hope to see you inside.